We are, I'll call to order the meeting of the East Hampton Planning Board for July 28th, 2015. Anybody here to speak to something that is not on the agenda? All right. I don't think we got minutes from that last meeting, so we'll just put that off until next meeting. We'll do that. Does that make sense, guys?
Yep.
And we have one A&R here. Do this quick. Is that all right with you guys? All right. You folks here for this one, Everett Street? All right.
Yes.
Come on up.
Pull this out of the way.
All right, let's do this quick once over what you're...
Put it next to him over there.
Oh, do I know what we're doing?
Sure, that'd be good.
Okay, we're purchasing some land from Baines,
This area.
this
Yeah.
area here, because where I live, my mother lives on this property here, and it's landlocked, so I could build a house
Okay,
Off the third.
up at 3rd Avenue.
all right. So you're buying that section and then you're gonna...
100 feet of frontage off of a main street,
Okay.
paved street.
And Joe and my famous have agreed to it.
Okay, and then you're...
And he's gonna
So
see-
that'll be the new boundary line?
Yes.
So then you'll have the frontage required to build.
Yeah, so the frontage is down there on Everett Street.
Yeah.
Gets a
And
little
keep the
tight.
frontage on that one.
So we should. They're all the same.
Yeah, they're all
Oh,
the same.
you don't have the other one. Okay.
Anybody have any questions?
No, I think it's okay.
It's an approval not required, so it's not a motion to approve. It's a motion to,
Endorse.
give me the word endorse, that's the word I'm after. Endorse the approval not required for
I make a
Everett.
motion, we endorse the plan as presented.
I'll second that endorsement.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? All right.
It was an easy one, that's why I took it away from you.
I deserve to go, you.
28th, is that right?
28th,
All right.
July 28th.
Judy, do you know how many we need to sign?
We need the Mylar signed and a copy for the applicant, so 2 for the applicant, and then at least
4.
3 of the other paper copies signed.
I thought we had the Mylar and 4.
Um,
Maybe it was 5, 1 for each, if we needed to look at them. I'm not sure. I used to always remember the Mylar and 5. But anyway. You're looking well. Still alive.
I think,
Yeah,
That's
it's actually
the best
nice.
thing. We get the
Made the
Mylar.
corner, you know?
Yeah, you get a Mylar and a paper copy.
The next
The
corner.
paper copy is yours.
Yeah.
The Mylar you need to bring to the Registry of Deeds to file it, to record it. And they'll, I think they keep the Mylars now.
Okay.
As part of the recording the land as the new property boundaries.
Might as well just sign this last one. All right. So which one do you need? A copy and the
We
Mylar?
need all the rest, they take a copy of the Mylar.
Okay. There's a copy and the Mylar for you guys.
Did you sign the Form A's too, or
What's that?
we just keep the Form A?
Where'd the Form A go?
The
Right there in
roll-
front of you.
Oh,
Is there anything that,
no, I don't think I signed that one.
do we just keep
I
that?
think we just keep it.
Hey,
All right.
Thank you.
Good luck, folks.
you're all set.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, on to the next thing. New business and public hearing for the proposed amendments to the home occupation ordinance. You guys want to open your
Oh,
public
yeah.
hearing?
I move to open ordinance.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Jimmy, you wanna explain a little bit about what?
Sure. So the zoning board of appeals took it upon themselves to propose an ordinance change to the home occupation. They've been dealing with a lot of home occupations, special permit requests for things like home offices, people who are doing secretarial work out of their home, really basic, no impact to the abutters, and it was clogging up their sort of permitting pathway. From the planning department side, we went along and helped them through the process because we felt that if someone wants to work out of their home and they live there, and they're not having people come to the house, it shouldn't be a special permit. It should be a much more like just endorsement by the building inspector or the planning director. So we're running into administrative difficulties where people would come in, they need a business certificate. We can't sign off on the business certificate unless they're approved with, unless they have zoning approval.
Yeah.
And the zoning requires a special permit for any home occupation as it currently stands. So it was just sort of a lot of red tape and bureaucracy that the zoning board and the zoning board of appeals and the planning department sort of worked together to come up with this proposal. The copy that you're seeing in front of you has references to red and blue because the original board document had track changes, but then it got copied and lost the color. So the important thing is that anything that's crossed out is the strikeout. That was what was in red. The things that were in blue and green were underlined. So if you can read it easily, it's still in. And if there's it's just like regular black text without an underline or a strikeout, that's not being changed.
And then Jessica made some comments to this one too,
Yes.
right?
Right, so the final approved version was the version submitted by the zoning board of appeals.
Yep.
And Jess had some comments that she forwarded on to you guys to discuss going forward.
You guys got a copy of that version too?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think Jess commented on a couple things that probably need to get discussed, but
Like the hazardous materials, like corrosive, toxic, radioactive.
yeah, I
We
mean,
probably shouldn't.
I think the question mark is generous. I think probably that shouldn't be.
I have a radioactive processing lab in my house.
Yeah.
Oh, it got mixed in my batter.
Yeah. That, and then the other one, she had a comment about whether to include accessory structures, which I think makes sense. If you're- if it-
Yeah, I thought that comment was more about why accessory structures weren't. Because
Included?
like previously it had mentioned accessory structures.
Right.
And then I think it was just left out of that.
So you're saying she's wondering why we aren't mentioning the inclusion of accessory structures?
Yeah, under
Right.
applicability.
Yeah,
Right.
in the definitions, in the first paragraph, it
10
says residential building or structure accessory thereto, and then it doesn't mention it again.
Right.
Yeah.
And then right, and so then 10.42 just says in any dwelling unit.
Right.
Right.
I couldn't read what she wrote at the bottom of the first page. It says not zoning.
Why
Regulate here.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
so that's like, I mean, if you're required to have a business certificate by someone else, you wouldn't typically put that in a zoning regulation
Right.
just because
Right.
that's another requirement.
Yeah. That's not related.
I mean, is there a reason, Jamie, not to include accessory structures or anything that the planning department? I mean, if it already doesn't meet the impact.
No, I think the intent was
To
to
include
include
that,
the
right?
accessory
Yeah.
structures, that you could have a
So you'd
a
wanna
small
add
shed and have like a
and.
wood shop in there.
And accessory structures?
Yeah, so the 10.42 would read, home occupations complying with the standards in this ordinance should be permitted by right in any dwelling unit, and the accessory structures on that property or
Something like that?
something.
Okay.
Whatever, yeah.
do we need to be specific with language? Is our role in this to narrow it down to what it should specifically say and have you ultimately push it forward to city council?
Yes, I mean, that's what I would imagine, is that we'll kind of find the inconsistencies with language, fix those, and then that's what will get sent on to us.
Let's nail this one down since we're here then. How about and accessory structures?
Sounds good to me.
Well, I mean, like Jessica strikes out a lot of stuff in her notes. I don't know if we want to just take that and accept it, or if we want to have her do that and look at it again after it's cleaned up. I don't know.
Yeah, like she took out the off-street parking
What number are you at?
piece. That's I in
Yeah.
10.42.
Yeah, so that was, she felt that was duplicitous because you just referenced table
It's a
10.
table,
You
right.
you referenced the parking, and the parking ordinance tells you how to provide for mixed-use dwelling, or mixed uses.
And then in 10.44, she's circled number C for no increase of traffic to the neighborhood. I'm assuming that's because
How do
there
you
would
define-
obviously be some increase in traffic in the neighborhood, presumably. I mean, if you're allowed to have
What is it, 2 cars per hour?
that, yeah, that's set out later.
Right, so,
But like even in this one section underneath 10.44C, it talks about no deliveries other than the types that frequently occur in the residential neighborhood.
That seems reasonable to
Yeah.
me, C1. So I mean, maybe it's the heading of C covers too broad a range, while the two specific
Right.
examples are better.
Well, and it
Maybe
seems
we're
to
right with
contradict that.
So
Yeah,
maybe
exactly.
it would be something along the lines of
Significant increase?
Yeah, or traffic in the neighborhood shall not be affected other than.
Right.
Or there should be no increase of traffic to the
Yes.
neighborhood other than.
Now I wonder how
Well,
this
Even
relates.
that, how do you track it? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sam.
No, well, I'm just thinking of like in my district. I know there's a home business, Parkview Landscaping, and is that a home business? Is that a home occupation? Because I'll tell you what, they park their trucks in the middle of Park Street and make it a 1-lane street like 4 or 5 times a day.
Right.
So I wonder, would this make them? I don't know where they stand. I don't know if it would cover like a
Would that
landscaping
be,
company.
Well, this doesn't prevent it. This is just a qualification for the minor home occupation,
Right.
which is something they could do
Yeah.
with your building
talking
department, right? It would
major-
just be a permit.
And this is, right, this is what they can do without a special permit.
Right,
Without
just
a
by
special
right.
permit. Right.
So it doesn't mean that you couldn't get a permit or a major home occupation
Right.
permit
Which is
that might
spelled
allow
out.
more.
Standards for
So
major
the-
home occupation.
It would behoove you to see if they have a major home
It would be interesting
occupation.
because they definitely have an
Because if
impact
they're
on
doing that, they're impeding basic traffic, I
Yeah.
would think.
Do you know anything about that?
I don't know
Okay.
anything off the.
I've seen the trucks there, and you just go around them as because we're
Well, they park on
We're
the
used
street
to
anyway,
having-
as
right.
you know, like a lot of landscaping companies do that anyway. They just park in
Right.
the middle of the road,
Mm-hmm.
but they do it like multiple times a day. I don't know why they have to go there, but
Yeah.
it's at a house.
Question, which landscaping company is that?
Parkview.
Parkview?
Yeah, on Park Street.
So maybe in this case, if it were just traffic effects to the neighborhood, 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Yeah.
it's not actually saying anything in that first line, it's just sort of defining what
Just-
this topic is.
Yeah, it's like the heading.
Yeah. But we should.
Or what if we just eliminate C and make 1 and 2 C and D?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's another
C and
option,
D.
yeah.
It's true.
And then E would be whatever D is.
Right. That might make more sense.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
But you're probably one of the first ones to mention it. I'm not sure if anyone in your neighborhood would mention anything about the trucks being out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it
And
definitely.
if they were, they would come right to you anyways,
Maybe.
knocking down your door.
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then the standards for all home occupations.
Mm.
There's a comment about the 25% of the existing gross floor area. Do we know what other communities do?
I don't have that information.
Okay.
The original ordinance, I believe, limited it to a very small number.
Mm-hmm.
300 square feet.
Right.
So the zoning board decided to sort of take out the max number and go with a percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
That would probably be the better way to go.
But I don't know what the common percentage would be.
Right.
Well, and a good question is if accessory buildings are acceptable within this, which, do you use 25% of the accessory building, or do you use 25% of the house, the main
Right, so all the
structure,
gross floor
Structure, yeah.
combined.
or all of it combined?
Yeah.
So that would be something we'd want to clarify.
Well, and I wonder if you want to put a cap and a floor on it too, right? 25%, but not to exceed 500 square feet. But
Right.
if you have a small space, maybe you can use 300. I don't know.
My inclination says that 25 is miraculously probably pretty close to where it should
Right.
be.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree that the language should say of the combined
Yeah.
space.
Yeah,
of
combined
all
combined
structure.
space,
Of all
no
structure.
more
And I
than.
like the idea of having a cap, although I'd probably rather see it at 600 because it might be a really big home. And if you've got
Yeah.
a barn space that you want to convert to some kind of home and it happens to be 600, I'd hate to see you prevented from doing that.
What's 25% of? Let me see.
600 would be like 2,400.
2,400 square foot.
2,400,
Yeah, that's a
yeah.
pretty big house.
Yeah.
But if it's
That's a
if
big
it's a
house.
house and a barn,
A house in a barn, then it's
Right.
a smaller house. Because a barn can be pretty big.
right?
So I just want to, I'm sure it's a rare occasion when that happens, but I'd hate to preclude somebody in that.
I don't mind
Right.
the 25%.
Yeah, I think.
On the other hand, on the minimum side, if somebody has a really small
Right.
place,
Yeah.
and they do something like, I don't know, guitar lessons or something,
Right.
like they might use 50%
Right.
of their apartment or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you could have, an 800 square foot apartment and half of
Yeah.
it's your living room that you're
Right.
using. It's 400
Easy.
square feet.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's not really fair, is it?
Yeah.
Should we have the planning department look at that and see what
I
other
think that's
places are
one
doing?
that-
I mean,
that's one
if we're
thing.
already going to come back next time and
Yeah,
look
we
at,
should just
we
take
might
a
as well
look
have
at
them do a
that
little research on that.
Yeah.
Because they'll go over the minutes as to what we were saying and the issues that we had.
I think it makes sense to look at that one, because that could be.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
So,
Does that make sense?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I think that Jess's comments on the zoning board version seem good.
I like them.
Does that make sense? Should we have them put together
A
like a
cleaned up
clean
copy,
version?
Yeah, so-
and then do give us more clarification on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
And it seems like we sort of agree that the hazardous materials stuff.
can be removed.
Yeah.
Stay on the hazardous
Yes, we should
materials.
remove
I
that.
think that
part.
makes
So that
sense.
was an open sort of question.
Yeah.
Strike it.
And so we'll meet up again when. So we'll continue this.
Yeah, and we have two other
just
public
curious.
hearings we have to do
That's
anyways.
true. So
In
we'll
terms
just
of
come
hazardous
back.
Alright,
materials,
so-
is hair a hazardous material?
No.
No.
Can I explain the hazardous material?
Yeah.
If someone was doing, if like an artist was,
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
had a kiln,
Yeah.
that's high heat and
Hmm.
potentially hazardous. So, I think it was put in there.
So, but one of them's in the minor home occupation, right?
Yeah.
It references it in the minor.
And if we remove that section, they'd probably still be able to get a kiln. I mean, like it
Right.
wouldn't keep them from getting a kiln, right?
Is a kiln combustible or
Yes.
flammable
Yeah.
itself?
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
It's
it creates
combustible
flames,
and flammable.
but does it in and
by
of
itself.
itself a material that burn? It seems like that's a weird
Well, it
Yeah.
says, including
says
high heat or
specifically
open flame, including welding and kilns.
Yeah.
Yeah. okay, so
I mean,
it's-
I guess what that section really does, right, is it just bumps anything using that into the major home occupation,
Right.
right? So that then requires it to still go back to the zoning board, is that right?
Right.
So I guess it just
That's
gives you
probably
more
fine.
oversight. It doesn't necessarily say it's forbidden.
Right.
It just means that that's
It
gonna be
means
something that's
they'll
gonna
And
have
it
to
doesn't
go
mean you're
back
gonna get your
and
permit.
get it.
Right, it just means that that's one that you're gonna have to go in front of the zoning board and
Get it
have it
permit.
vetted.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that makes
I
sense.
think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that.
That would
the
be better.
Fire department knows where all the kilns are.
Yeah.
precisely.
All right, I think that's, so let's leave that in there then,
Yeah.
at least for now.
Hopefully nothing radioactive is happening.
Yeah.
That one seems weird
Yeah.
to me.
So we'll just continue this to a date to be determined that matches up with one of our other hearings. Is that-
Well,
Yeah.
Jess gave me a couple minutes because we also have, all right, so we're set on this one, right? We're gonna have the planning department do some
Yeah.
research and make some changes and we'll look at it. We'll continue it till, we have the two other ones. One is the amendment of the city zoning map,
Okay.
and the other was the amendment of the zoning property 119, 121 Main Street.
Okay.
So, she suggested that for notification, they would have to be either August 25th or September 8th.
Let's
Those
go with the
planning
20th.
board.
Oh, am I going to be around the 25th? Yeah, 25th is fine.
25th?
I said the sooner for the Port Barber day.
I know. The 25th works for me. Do you guys generally?
August
Okay.
25th for the next
general,
one. They're
yeah.
scheduling dates.
Okay.
That'll be our next joint hearing.
Okay.
So we'll continue the home occupation public hearing to August 25th, and we will also schedule a public hearing for the zoning map and the amendment of the zoning of the property on Main Street also to August 25th.
Right,
Sounds good.
okay.
It'll be a fun day.
All right? I don't think we need to vote on any of this, right?
No.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
So,
All in favor?
hi.
Okay. I gotta go.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, a little bit later.
Good luck on your game.
All right.
Thank you.
I think the only other administrative thing we have here is this from the zoning board, the only other thing.
Yeah.
This is a request for comments on application for keeping of chickens on a lot under 15,000 square feet at 7 Valley Lane. Would we like to look at this and talk about it, or would we like to take no position and
It's
wish the
CBA.
zoning board the best of luck? Yes.
I would like to take no, well, at least I would make no comment.
No comment.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, thank you.
night.
Where's Valley Lane?
Where's Valley Lane?
It's up in the new city area.
Yeah. it's-
Oh yeah, Sutton Place and Valley Lane.
Yeah.
Is that on the backside of Farm Street Village?
It's close to it, but not, I just know the person, so I don't wanna.
Oh, even more. All right. Can I get a motion to make no comment?
What are you thinking?
Well, it's not a bias, I don't know the person, but after reading it and seeing it, I would support it, but I don't think that we're the right people to make that comment.
Yeah,
I think the
right.
ZBA should, so I motion to make no comment to the ZBA despite my strong personal feelings that this should be supported.
All right.
I'll second that, whatever he
Similar
said.
feeling.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention? All right.
Totally agree.
All right.
You gotta add that 2 cents.
There were
in.
3 decisions
Totally
from the
agree.
zoning.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And
I think they did a great job at being sure.
And then we also have these two, right?
yeah, the ordinance
The
change.
amended ordinance, right? That was an extra one for Jim that didn't make it, so. All right.
You were spoon feeding that.
Anything else we need to do?
Now we're just sitting here listening to.
I think we covered everything?
I'm going,
I think you're good.
All right.
Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn.
did a great job on
It's all
that.
yours.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Thank
right.
you. I mean, it's good to hear those.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Good, Jamie, thank you.
You were standing-
Everyone got a copy of
if
the
you see it from
ordinance?
my
So this one's
perspective, you're-
for-
I'm here. you're-
That was for
you're
Jim
okay.
Valancourt.
Yeah, listen to you try to appease this guy, and it didn't matter what you did or what you said, he was gonna find something wrong with it.